Hello there, and welcome back to World of Warship Legends with Derka, where today we are going to continue reviewing the alternative Japanese destroyer line. You might notice this time that I didn't say gunboat line. More on that later. At Tier 5, mirroring the Fubuki, we now have the Hatsuharu. Before we get too farther into it, let's look at our commander setup. Just like the Minakaze, we are using Takeo Kurita. This time around, he is a level 11. We are using Eric Bay for a concealment boost, and Philip Vian for increased shell dispersion to kind of limit how much damage we are taking. Perk slot 1, Observant Rage, Look at Me Now, Twist and Track, Smoke on the Water, and we switched up our legendary perk for Unstoppable for the reduced engine repair time. These ships take damage to their steering gears and engine rather easily. So having Unstoppable is kind of helpful to help with that repair time. There have been several matches that I lost because just sitting there with knocked out engines, nothing I can do, waiting for my demise. I said I would test out Evil Sparks, and I did, which this perk offers increased armor penetration of your HE shells 50% while decreasing your HE damage by 55%. That's at Legendary 1, and I did test it out. It is just not useful on these lower tier ships with the slow reload. I think on Akazuki it will be pretty powerful, but we'll find out when we get there. So on the commanders, Kurita is one of the options. You could think about using Tanaka, because once you get the Torp upgrade for Hatsuharu, you have Fubuki torpedoes, and so that is a serviceable option. The only downside is you only have 6 torpedoes versus Fubuki's 9. But Tanaka is an option for better torp speed, reload, and concealment. Of course, the trade-off would be less HP, no twist and track, and slower guns, and those are the things that you get with Kurita. Togo is also another option, and the biggest upside here is getting a third smoke and a third engine boost consumable with fully packed. I think as we get on farther up the line, maybe for Akazuki, I'll do like a really in-depth comparison between the 3 commanders and kind of help everyone decide which would be the better way to go. So also, I didn't mention this in the first video, but for our modules, we're using Aiming Systems Mod 1, and in slot 2, we're using the Engine mod. And we'll kind of more on that later, but on these lower tiers, I mean, there's really not many options. Of course, you're going to go with Aiming Systems Mod 1, and steering gears is an option, but we'll talk about why on this ship that it's really not that great later on in the gameplay, and I can kind of point out why. How does Hatsuharu compare to the other Tier 5 destroyers? Well, as far as HP goes, you're going to be at the bottom of the pack, not quite at the bottom. Fubuki and Icarus will have less HP than you, but you're one of the worst at the tier. Armor's comparable to the other destroyers. Guns, 5 127mm guns, the same Fubuki guns. Your range is 10.6, which is actually pretty good. Reload speed, 6.9 seconds. Not that quick. Faster than Fubuki, of course, but still not that fast. Turret rotation time, 20.5 seconds. Really isn't that good. Moving on, your fire chance on this particular build is 7%. Torpedoes. Like we alluded to earlier, you have the Fubuki torpedoes in a 2x3 configuration. They're the big 610mm torpedoes, and they hit hard. 16,267 damage on this particular build is one of the best at the tier, but you have the least amount of torpedoes at the tier, tied with the Guepard and the Gnevany. Damage, we covered that. Reload speed for the torpedoes, it depends if you're taking Tanaka or Kurita. On this Kurita build, they are 76 seconds, which is pretty middle of the pack. If you take Tanaka, you can get the speed up there to make it a little better. Their detection range, 1.5 kilometers. They reach out to 10 kilometers once you get the torpedo upgrade, and their speed is 59 knots with Kurita. With Tanaka, you can boost that up a little bit. The speed of the ship, 36.5 knots, not that quick. Faster than Mahan, faster than T-61, but really not that fast. Your turning circle, 580 meters, which is pretty good. Rudder shift, 2.5 seconds, that's great. And your concealment on this particular build with Kurita 5.9. With Tanaka, it looked like I had it down to about 5.4, and my commanders were the same level. I think Tanaka's a 12, Kurita's an 11. So, time to get down to the brass tacks, the meat and potatoes of it. What's the deal with this ship? Well, boys and girls, she is pretty anemic. Not that good at any one thing. You're not going to be winning many 1v1 gunfights. The torpedoes are meh. Your HP pool, meh. Speed, okay. Concealment. There's just nothing about this ship that is particularly great. And that is the whole reason why I've played this match the way I've played it up until now. I did not rush into B because on your own, there's not a whole lot that you can do. You need the support of your teammates, and I've never felt so more reliant on my team than in this ship. Now, we'll pause that for a second to talk about the fight with this Guy 80. Remember earlier I said that I took the engine module, and here's why. Notice this guy, we've kind of been 1v1ing all the way back from C-cap to here. Look at his health, look at my health. Mostly it's coming down to me playing with the throttle of the ship. Accelerating, decelerating, and I've made this guy miss a considerable amount of his shots just doing that. Not saying that I'm such a great player, but it's a good tactic that you can use. And the reason I don't take the steering gears is because the turret rotation is so slow on Hatsuharu that if you're using steering gears and you're turning back and forth like a fish, your guns are not going to stay on target and you're not going to be able to hit anything. You know, you might have 25% of your firepower shooting at any one time. That is why I take the engine boost module and keep playing with the throttle, decelerate, accelerate, make them work for that damage. So, nice little combo kill there. Thank you, teammates, for the double strike, because I didn't have a whole lot of damage on the Russian destroyer, but we got that kill. So, yes, that is why I went into C-cap first. One, it was 5v5 destroyers, and a lot of times in those situations, you think about it, if you're 1v1ing another destroyer, regardless of the ship you're in, maybe you have a 50-50 chance of winning that engagement. But if you are with a swarm of friendly destroyers like we were on C, they probably weren't expecting that. So they had one Benson over there that he just got caught and totally obliterated. And then, you know, fighting in mass like that in destroyers gives you a huge advantage. So I figured the probability of taking out a couple of their DDs really quick would be high, and that's pretty much what happened. And then we went ahead and moved into B to get the cap. But yes, solo warrioring it in this ship, it's probably not going to happen much at all unless you are playing a team of russet potatoes. It's just a tough ship to carry in, and you need to be around your teammates, using them for support. The guns aren't particularly great, but anytime I get an opportunity like this to use an island to take some pot shots at someone, especially if my torpedoes are on a cooldown and the people are being spotted, because that's one of my main jobs, is to do the spotting, then I'll sit behind an island and take pot shots. Again, the guns are just okay, your fire chance is okay. With your reload speed, you're not going to be getting huge amounts of damage. But at this point in the match, we are winning pretty handily. Another thing, the shell trajectory of these shells doesn't seem to be that great. You can see the time to target there on Mr. Guy 80. So leading your targets, I feel like I've had to, I don't know, lead a lot more than I remember in the Fubuki and the Akatsuki. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's the same exact shell velocity. I don't know if something's changed. I guess I haven't played Fubuki or Akatsuki in quite a long time. But so yeah, we've got them on the ropes here. This one's pretty well wrapped up. Just gonna move up with our team here to maybe get another little torp strike or two. Again, alpha strike value is pretty good on the Japanese destroyers. It's just that reload time that's gonna kill you. So it's good to shoot and then disappear before someone else can shoot you back. I hope I don't get this wrong, but I believe I tried Lemonier on this ship at one point to see how it was if I could fire and then have a reduced duration of being spotted. But I don't think my Lemonier's high enough level. And again, I hope that's the correct commander. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. But he's just not a high enough level, so it didn't make a massive difference in the gameplay. Here, our American destroyer was kind enough to set down a smoke screen. So we're gonna take advantage and use it. These guys are still being spotted. Maybe I'm trying to see by which destroyer or which ship. But at some point here, we are gonna lose spot on them. And because I'm in a Hatsuharu and he's in a Mahan, I definitely need to be the one that leaves the smoke screen. Because it is written in the annals of World of Warships, thou shalt leave the smoke screen to spot for thy brethren with higher DPM. Just always remember that. You know, if there's a cruiser sitting in a smoke screen and you're in a Mitsuki, you should get out there, spot for them, let them shoot their guns, because they're going to make a whole lot more of a difference in the match than you are. So I kind of wanted to Leroy Jenkins these guys, but figured I would keep my dignity and not get blapped. And that is going to wrap it up for the Hatsuharu. Next, off to the Shiratsuyu. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. Thank you guys for watching. Leave some comments down below with your thoughts on the line. How are you setting them up? How are you playing them? Would love to hear from you. Also, subscribe to the channel because they have plenty more videos coming in the future. All right, see ya.